On this week's episode, it's our fall preview for shows coming to a stream near you. On this week's episode, it's our fall preview for shows coming to a stream near you. Is the Fitzmagic back in Tampa Bay? And can a PS4 Spider-Man do whatever a spider can? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back once again with the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without the quarterback for Humanica Media. You gotta check out everything that's going on with Humanica Media today at humanicamedia.com. Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and so much more, including the great Topicocalypse and PCC Gamescast programs. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man? Have you got your Letterman's jacket yet, being the big man on campus?
Yeah, I'm just hoping I don't get injured. Then I'll be out for the season, and I don't think anybody needs that.
No, you'll be placed on injured reserve.
I still won't be able to help you on your fantasy football team. I'm sorry.
There you go. But it is going to be a great episode we have for you today. We've got TJ Johnson from the Voice from the Underground podcast. You got to listen to that today on iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and so many other different outlets. He's going to be stopping by with his thoughts on the latest Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 4. How good is it? He's going to tell you. Plus, also on the back end, Josh is going to describe his thoughts as well on the Spider-Man game, and where it can go from here as far as where, onto the PlayStation 5, another sequel to it, and so much more. We're going to delve into that later in the episode with both those guys' thoughts. Also, as well, we've got Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. He is going to talk about week two in the NFL, some of the things that went on, including, is the Fitzmagic back in Tampa Bay? We talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick, that, if you should jump on that train, should he stay the quarterback for now? Should he remain a starting quarterback for now? Tyler's going to share his thoughts coming up later in the episode as well. If we have time, this will probably be edited out. I'm not sure yet, but we might have time for it. We also have Ron McCallum in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to be talking a little bit about if the Nintendo Switch is nothing more than a port machine. He's going to be sharing his thoughts on that. And we have a whole lot more hopefully coming up for you in today's episode as well. But first off, that's pretty much what we said too. But first off, we have been previewing a lot of stuff for this fall and winter season so far. We've been previewing a lot of stuff for the coming fall and winter months. If you have not checked out our past episodes of the past 3 weeks, we touch on the fall premieres for everything going on in the video game world, the movies that are coming out for the rest of the year, the TV shows, many of the TV shows that are coming out on the major networks, also as well the cable, and also all the major networks and cable as well. We talk about that. Plus, like I said, the best in video games coming out for the next few months as well. Josh, today I want to touch on the last kind of fall preview that we have going on for the coming months. And that's what's coming to streaming markets. And I wanted to just say, hey, it's something different outside of the realm than just putting it into TV or movie realm, because it's kind of like a hybrid of both. We're actually going to go ahead and have our picks and some of our thoughts on what's out already for various streaming outlets, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or anything else that's out there as far as the streaming realm. So, Josh, I'm going to give you the first ups. What is the first thing that you're interested in or have seen or have seen so far in what are some of the things that you're either looking forward to or have seen so far on a streaming outlet?
Okay, so I have already watched the second season of Iron Fist. Have you had a chance to see it yet?
Only bits and pieces, but what little I have seen is already much better than the atrocity that is season 1 of Iron Fist.
So it is a lot better than the first season. The fact that they wrote the script to the acting, to the actors. They wrote the script in a way where the actors could easily fulfill the role. So you don't have like Finn Jones trying to be like a Tony Stark or like a Clark Kent or something. Like he's more, they play to that gimmicky side of Finn Jones as the Iron Fist, and it's cool. It still has a lot of problems with the writing, and the story's pretty straightforward this time around. You don't have you only have 3 or 4 people trying to backstab each other instead of, everybody trying to backstab each other. And then towards the end of the season, it does get a little messy, but the payoff in the last 10 minutes of the last episode of the season are absolutely huge. And it is very clustered, but it was so cool because they really, really went to pay homage to the Iron Fist comics. And if what happened at the end of the season is any indication, then the next season is going to be absolutely amazing.
And that's a good sign because you and I both have talked about over the past few months how I guess both of us have really not been very high on the Marvel product when it comes to their efforts on Netflix. I've not been high on the Defenders, Iron Fist. I think for me, Jessica Jones and possibly Luke Cage have probably been the best moments so far for me as far as the series going forward. The Punisher got over okay. Daredevil has been hit or miss as well. So there's been a lot of things that are out there that, for me, when it comes to Marvel and Netflix.
Sorry, I'm trying to interrupt.
What's up, Chad? How are you?
How are you, Gerald? Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
What's up? What's new?
We're actually trying to record the show. Just wanted to we're talking about the best in streaming for the rest of the year. And great to have you aboard. Again, it's Chad Smith from Hyperschmidt joining us now.
Up?
Great to have you here along with us for the Pop Culture Cosmos show. Jumping in right here. So let me ask you, Chad, we have not been fans of the Marvel product on Netflix for this point up until recently. I've seen some promising signs, but Josh has really gone ahead and given the high sign for people to check out Iron Fist Season 2 on Netflix. What are your thoughts on Marvel as a whole when it comes to Netflix? And are you excited about anything going forward in that realm?
I think it's really cool. Well, I was just going to say that I think Marvel kind of pulled this family big thing with their movies, but I don't know if it translated well onto Netflix, these big long format, stories that are stretched out to longer than 2.5 hours. So I can see why. I have not seen Iron Fist Season 2 yet, so I can't speak for that, Joshy. But I think that maybe that long format doesn't work for them with that cheesy kind of undertone that we're used to seeing in the movies.
Right. They're trying to go. It has its gimmicks, but they're trying to keep it like, this is the adult street version of Marvel. And so that's what they kind of cling to. But Gerald, it's weird that you say that Luke Cage and Jessica Jones were the high point for you, because I did not like either of those series. I thought the second season of Luke Cage was okay, but
but that's what I'm thinking. They're not very great high points. I just don't think that there's been a series consistently for me that I've seen all the episodes of that have really been a high point for me at all. When I say high point, I mean that term loosely, because I just don't think as a whole the Netflix series, although they've been great for obviously the viewers that have been watching it, as far as the quality, I think Chad hits it right on the head when you just cannot compare what they're doing here to even what they did with Agent Carter on ABC, or even the big time Marvel movies. I just don't think it has that oomph that I think that it needs. Plus also the fact that they just will not acknowledge anything that goes on Netflix in the bigger Marvel Cinematic Universe just really blows my mind, and doesn't even validate in many fans' eyes what's going on in the world when it comes to Marvel and Netflix.
Yeah, fair enough. Plus, they also are disadvantaged by not being able to have access to, the younger audience. So these are more like adult shows too. So kids aren't kids aren't binging these on Netflix. Parents aren't sitting up there letting their kids watch it, because they are hyper violent and they do have a whole lot of swearing and sex in them. So it's just, you don't have that working in your favor.
No, you don't at all. But there are some other great things that are coming out this fall when it comes to the streaming marketplace. And not all of it's from Netflix. And that's the beauty of it. With so many different streaming outlets now that are available to consumers, there's a lot of great things that you can find out there or that are coming up that you might need to take a look out for. Josh, what are some of the other things that you're looking out for that may not necessarily be on a Netflix format?
Not on Netflix? Okay, let's see. Well, all right, where was it? Sorry, it was Man in the High Castle. Yeah, that was the one.
Oh, nice.
I didn't think that they were making another season of that, because it's been a little over almost 3 years, right, since the last season came out. So
yeah.
It has been almost like a Game of Thrones type deal where they're delaying seasons, and but it has been a great thing so far for a lot of people. Chad, what are your thoughts on Man in the High Castle coming back to Amazon Prime?
I'm excited for it. What is it? October 5th, I think, is going to be coming back to Amazon Prime on it.
I believe that's correct, but I will confirm the date.
That show is, I love those huge twists, those just giant, rethinking history, stuff like that, those time travel things. I don't want to give away a lot of the show, but I am thrilled to see that they're doing another season of it. There's so much more that is left unexplored from season 1 that is there's so much I want to see them do and dabble into.
It is coming out October 5th. Again, yes. You got to check it out on Amazon Prime when it hits next month. It's something that a lot of people like Chad and Josh have also been looking forward to. One thing that I am pointing towards that I think a lot of people might get interested in that has a lot of pop culture tie-ins is something that's coming to Facebook, and their emphasis now on trying to get other formats going for them, similar to what YouTube is doing with its YouTube Red. Facebook is doing something with their Facebook Watch in that they're going ahead with a series called Sorry for Your Loss, starring Elizabeth Olsen and Kelly Marie Tran. So both of those individuals out there that are going to be able to get everybody, as far as the fanboys and fangirls out there that are familiar with their work from Marvel and Star Wars, as far as from a police procedural drama standpoint, want to take a look at that. It looks interesting. The trailer that's out for it really delves into some hard subjects when it comes to it. So look for Sorry for Your Loss when it comes out September 18th this week to Facebook Watch.
Now,
go ahead. Sorry,
I was saying, is this one of Facebook's first big premiere things with Facebook Watch like this?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So yes, definitely something that they want to delve into a little bit more. It's about time. A lot of these entities like YouTube and Facebook are just starting to get into it because they have that captive audience. And outside of the reality shows that Facebook has been, I guess, delving into with the balls and and some other things that they've been dealing with so far, this is something that's really good as far as from a procedural drama that they really just stepped into for the first time, and hopefully won't be the last time for Facebook as well. Josh, are you looking forward to anything else coming out to the streaming marketplace?
Yes, Snatch. The next season of Snatch is looking good. Did you ever watch the first season?
Only an episode or two. Obviously, the Harry Potter connection there with Rupert Grint obviously makes it for initial watch. And if you're a big fan of the movie, obviously that comes to mind as well. But I don't think for me it has captured the similar type format. of what the movie represented to me. But then again, it's almost like an unfair comparison when you're trying to go ahead and something that works so well in a 2-hour format, try to go ahead and stretch it out over several episodes. But it is already out on Sony Crackle, so if you get a chance to check it out, it is available right now on Sony Crackle. That came out, I believe, on the 13th. Any thoughts from you, Chad, on something that you're seeing out of the box other than just going to a Netflix format?
Well, what I will say is I love to see the cable companies sweating. And what I mean by that is I like all these new formats, all these different companies coming out with these great material. I think it's going to really force the, big cable companies to either step up their game or realize that they're going under. So I just think that's something that's kind of interesting to look at with that.
Absolutely. No, you're correct on that one, because it does force them to go ahead, even though they're not playing by the same FCC rules that the streaming companies can do. The streaming companies obviously can put NSFW content and could get more violent and get more realistic.
Right.
And gritty than some of these shows on, let's say, even an FX or other stations can do. FX does push the envelope from time to time, and there's a couple other stations that do. But outside of that, it's just very hard for any broadcaster cable networks to go ahead and really expound on the type of boundaries that we know the streaming companies can do. That's for sure. Anything else, Josh, that's hitting you as far as the streaming, the streaming outlets are out there? Anything that you're looking towards to? Because I got a couple ideas as well myself.
Yeah, I just got one last one I'm kind of looking forward to, or two. One, they're both on Netflix. One is Atypical. The first season of that was really good. I love the way that they were able to capture the authenticity behind having somebody with autism in your family and what they go through in the social settings and stuff like that. So that was a really cool show. So I am definitely looking forward to the next season. Also, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I was not too thrilled about it, but then I saw that little teaser trailer. I've been seeing the pictures, and I gotta admit, I'm into it. I would love to see, because I grew up watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, I was gonna ask, is that what this is about?
Yeah, so it's a much darker take on Netflix, so it's gonna be cool. So I'm curious how it's done. I've read some of the comics, and they're pretty cool, but yeah, just the way that translate. Because you look at the pictures and you see the way they did the colors and all that, and it looks really I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm not going with high expectations, but I am kind of excited about checking it out.
I'm wondering if they're gonna kind of try to grab the small, what's that crowd, the Archie show that's out.
Yes, Riverdale. So
Riverdale. I wonder if they're gonna try and catch that same crowd of Riverdale with that.
Yeah, so allegedly this takes place in the same universe as there's some kind of there's a contract with Netflix and Warner Brothers, and they might be able to cross over at some point.
I think there was some comic crossover also.
Yeah, yep, with Archie. Yep.
Wow.
Well, definitely that's a good option for those who like Riverdale on the CW, and definitely looking forward to that. If you're a big fan of that show, and if you've got that on Netflix, that's definitely something that you might want to look into as well. For me,
wait, Gerald, what are you looking for?
Yeah, come on, Gerald.
Well, there's a couple actually. I will tell you the Other Side of the Wind, which was an unfinished movie by the late director Orson Welles, which everybody knows from some of the best movies of the previous century and whatnot. So, obviously his resume already is well known by any aspiring filmmaker that's out there. The Other Side of the Wind was an unfinished work that was finally pieced together and put together. It features John Huston, the late John Huston, as well, in a starring role, plus a lot of other appearances by other actors of that ilk during the late 60s and 70s, because it took place and it was filmed over a period of years. And was, like I said, was finally put together recently.
Wow.
And it's going to debut in theaters and then also Netflix as well on November the 2nd. So definitely take a look forward to that one. If you want to get into the mind possibly the latter years of what Orson Welles' career was like before his death, and what his mindset was like, and basically what you could say is his last film.
Wow.
Also, as well, you've got Teen Titans, which is going to be an NSFW. What we were talking about, a grittier, more violent, more hardcore type of format for the new DC streaming service. That's actually out and available already, the DC streaming service. So Teen Titans is something a lot of people are looking forward to. And for me, Jack Ryan, I just finished watching that series on Amazon Prime.
Same.
So what do you think, Chad? What you saw it, so tell me your thoughts on the Jack Ryan series.
Again, there's this whole new thing with this long format storytelling. I heard someone talking about people predicting that people were not going to be, sustainable. It wasn't going to be sustainable to have these stories that were, over the course of so many chapters outside of a book. They're saying in television. And it's just been blowing them away to see how much people are loving this like character depth, something that was only previously explorable by books. You couldn't explore this depth with movies before. So it's kind of cool to get to know the characters that deep with these long format shows. Jack Ryan was so great. It started out slow, right off, a couple episodes on there, and you're getting to know everyone on there, and you realize that the show it's Jack Ryan. I mean, I've seen the movie, and I think they're kind of building him into that character that we know him as well. Is it closely related to the movie with Tom Cruise? Do you know?
No, you're talking about the movies with Harrison Ford during the 90s.
Also, but wasn't there just one with Tom Cruise, Jack Ryan?
No.
No, you're thinking about Jack Reacher.
Funny.
Yes, that was Jack Reacher. Actually, Jack Ryan has been played by Christopher Pine. He's been played by Alec Baldwin, and he's been played by Ben Affleck, I believe, are the characters that have played, are the actors that have played that character before. But the most famous being Harrison Ford, the two movies he made in the 90s, Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games. And the series itself, like you said, starts off a little slow. One thing it does well, it develops everybody else as far as the character. Oh, what was that? The characters within the realm of the actual CIA and what they're going after, but it develops more the actual terrorist organization and looks at that side quite a bit as far as their motivations, their past, their history, especially the lead terrorist that takes over the terrorist group and takes command and becomes the lead patriarch of the terrorist group. You see a lot of things from his vantage point, which I think, unfortunately, whatever way you want to say it, whether it's in poor taste or good taste, actually was probably better for the narrative, because Jack Ryan himself, played by John Krasinski, The
Office.
Yeah, the character himself is not. I guess even Harrison Ford playing it was about as exciting as you can get, but he is a Boy Scout in a non-Boy Scout type of environment, with his cohort in crime, Hal Greer, being that morally gray character, but John Krasinski going ahead and trying to be, I guess, as basically as Dudley Do-Right, or as basically straight and narrow as you can, trying to go ahead and solve these crimes and track down the terrorists and try and solve the mystery. But the way the crimes go about, as far as the narrative from the point of view of the terrorist organizations and whatnot, that part keeps the interest of the audience. It's the parts where you try and sit down with John Krasinski and you see that he's doing everything on the straight and narrow. Everybody else is trying to do everything else within a morally gray or a totally wrong type of way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, somehow this guy who's playing by the book manages to go ahead and save the day and figure out everything ahead of everybody else who has all these other resources and can't figure out anything, but it's only up to him, which yes, he is the title character, but it just makes it for at the end, kind of a bittersweet experience, because the fact that everything else was set up so well except for his character, which truly was not inspiring at all. I thought it was played okay by John Krasinski, but what he was given was really not much to work with. And I understand the fact that Jack Ryan's character is supposed to play by the straight and narrow during the process of being in the CIA, especially if you watch the Harrison Ford movies. But even Harrison Ford, to an extent, utilized resources and was able to think of ways that made it so the fact that he wasn't the only person there that could solve these, could find out these terrorists, could right the wrongs and things of that nature. In case of this series, it looks like that it's John Krasinski and everybody else.
Interesting. They brought a lot more of a teamwork aspect to it all. They definitely, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But like I said, it is a fairly solid series. I think if people are really interested in seeing something that will hold your attention, it most likely will. It is like I said, I give it a fairly good grade, but not exactly something that I think is going to be the best thing I've seen on television this year. But if you're interested in following the Jack Ryan series from the books from Tom Clancy and all that, then I definitely do give a decent recommendation to the Jack Ryan series.
Beautiful cinematography too. Very well shot.
Yes, for especially for something that was on a streaming format and was never presented on the big screen. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So that's a look at a lot of what's coming out that we're looking forward to on the streaming formats. If you've got something that you are interested in talking about when it comes to what's coming to streaming formats, whether it's Netflix, Crackle, Facebook, YouTube Red, because we're waiting for the next the next season of the Karate Kid series. That one we really definitely like a lot what's going on with that revival and all that. And then you have also so many other networks as well, CBS All Access, DC streaming service, and so much more. If you've got a show that you are really interested in talking in us talking about, share us your thoughts, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. So Josh, I know you got a lot of things going on when it comes to Humanica Media and Topicocalypse. Before we head to the break, and before we head to Chad's song, what have you got going on with all the great stuff at Humanica Media?
Just new Topicocalypse going up. We're shooting in video now too, so you can check it out on YouTube as well as the usual places: Podbean, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and all that good stuff. Also, be looking out for the PCC Gamescast, a brand new show brought to you by Pop Culture Cosmos. So be tuning in for that. And also, we are on the Podcast Radio Network every Tuesday night. Tell them what time, Gerald.
It's coming at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday on the Podcast Radio Network. So, Chad, before we head to a break, there's actually a great song that I think you've want us to go ahead and play. So tell us a little bit more about your latest song. We did play it a couple weeks ago on the Pop Culture Cosmos show, but you know what? It's so good, so we got to hear it again from you, my friend. Tell us what's going on with your newest single from Hyperschmidt.
Wait,
awesome.
Chad, is this that Counting Crows cover you've been promising for years?
Finally is. We paved paradise and we put up a parking lot.
Yeah, I got goosebumps, man.
It's gonna happen one day, I promise.
It better.
It better. It will, Josh. It will. The new song is "Set You Free," and this is kind of a brand new feel for me. I have always tend to write in a classic song format, an intro, like a verse, a chorus, and this one I kind of broke that format, and so. It's definitely a fresh new sound for Hyperschmidt. Don't think I'm getting stuck in any sounds. Every song I think deserves its own sound to express it. This song is about dealing with a lot of the darkness in life. Me and my cousin were sitting down just talking about stuff that can go on in families and break families apart. And so we kind of made this promise to never let that happen between us. And that's kind of where the song Set You Free kind of came from. So it's a really powerful song. And I think people that are hearing the words are going to really experience a lot of like clarity. The album cover, the single cover is even a lighthouse. And so I just love that feeling of even just throwing a little bit of light out, because I feel like a lot of people are out at sea, and that's not where you want to be, especially when all the there's rocks around. So I feel like the song is a lot of musical just wisdom and stuff people need to hear.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And I'll tell you what, where can everybody get not only this great song, but also all your other great songs as well?
You can get my stuff in all the stores, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much any store. I'm in all the stores. So definitely go to YouTube. You can see the lyric videos that I spend hundreds of hours personally making, or even the music videos that we shot our latest one on a Red cinema camera. So it's a delight. It's a really fun music video, very homegrown, and it's YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Instagram is where I'm at. Really, just look up Hyperschmidt on Instagram, and for sure direct message me. I love talking to people and hearing what everyone thinks about what I'm doing. So yeah, definitely send me a message. I will always respond.
That is Hyperschmidt, HYPERSCHMITT. You want to look for all of his great songs today, like he said, on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and all these other great music outlets. But before we go ahead and hit your song, my friend, got to let everybody know, coming up, we've got Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast, TJ Johnson from Voice from the Underground, and later on, our thoughts on the latest Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 4. But first, it is Hyperschmidt, it is Chad, and Hyperschmidt, and this is Set You Free, and this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back to close out the show. This is Gerald Glassford coming right back at you once again. Don't forget, you can check out a listing of where we're at, because we're on radio stations all around the world playing 7 days a week. And we're now up to 16 different radio stations. Just want to go ahead and welcome once again our latest stations that are now part of the Pop Culture Cosmos family. So the Juice FM, Radio Wacom, and the SKO Radio Network. We truly cannot thank you enough for allowing us to be a part of your radio schedules. Josh, it's just so great to hear from you as far as what's going on with Topicocalypse, and like you said, with the PCC Gamescast. Chad Smith from Hyperschmidt. Again, check out all of his stuff that's going on when it comes to Hyperschmidt on YouTube, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else you can get great music. Just so awesome to have you both here. Before we head on out, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the latest game for the PlayStation 4. It's really a game that's got a lot of people just excited once again about Spider-Man. First, we've had the great game Spider-Man Homecoming, the great movie Spider-Man Homecoming, and now he seems to have a very, very solid game in Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4.
I mean, this game is really tailored, I feel like, really well to like this generation. Like already the internet is full of so many memes of the Snapchat from this new Spider-Man game. It has just a beautiful rendering engine. Like the skins on this thing, it's detailed. Like the light is amazing. So I've just been seeing so many people take just really, really great Spider-Man memes. As far as gameplay, normally I have Josh's PS4, but he took it back from me to review games. So I have not gotten to play it, but I've been playing that ASAP. But from all the playthroughs I've been watching, it looks so fun and dynamic.
Josh, what are your thoughts on the latest Spider-Man game to hit the PlayStation 4?
It's fun, man. I've probably played a couple hours of it, but like the best way I can think to describe the game is vibrant, because the colors The colors are really cool. Like it's not all like pixelated like the old Spider-Man games. It has everything I loved about Web of Shadows, but it's done so much better. And here you also have a story. So this is the first time, outside of the Arkham series, that a superhero game has delivered quality gameplay, a good story, and plenty of extra stuff to do on the side. So you can play through the game probably, I want to say in about 20 hours, but if you were to do all like the side stuff, the side stories, the side quests and all that, you could probably get about 60 to 80 hours of gameplay out of it.
Just running
However,
around in that open world.
yeah, and you just swing around the city and you can go in the ocean and jump on boats and stuff. Like you can do anything. Like there's nothing in this game that's like off limits, but it's cool because people didn't think that a game like this could be made. You had the Arkham games, but those were, I would even say, not even on a scale as massive as this one. And the stories were good, the characters were cool, but like, this one they did a good job of like immersing you into that world and actually making you care enough to play the game from start to finish and not be like, oh look, I can jump off a building and swing to something else. I'm just gonna do this over and over again. You actually are motivated to play the story. And they also did a good job of taking like the lesser characters and making you like wonder more about them. So
Cool.
I would definitely recommend playing it. I'm gonna dive into it a little bit more, but Insomniac, I feel like, has really set the standard for superhero games moving forward, especially, how many crappy like Wolverine and X-Men games and stuff like and Fantastic Four thing. How many of the like bad games have we gotten over the years? More than we can count, right?
It's almost like the games that almost like the movie tie-in games that used to come out year after year after year that were so bad, especially in the mid 2000s. Just some really atrocious games. There were also some really bad superhero games around that time, and I'm just so glad to see that this has come out. They've paid a lot of attention to it. They were not in any time frame or trying to wrap it around any type of movie, and they were just said to go out and make a good superhero movie. And it looks like that they did, and it did so in spades. I've heard universal praise for the game. The awesome thing about it is just that it also tells a great narrative, deep in detail into Peter Parker's story, his background, his relationships with Mary Jane, and everyone else that is coming, that everyone else that everyone is so familiar with when it comes to the Spider-Man universe. And it just seems that this could be something that can lead into even more Spider-Mans down the road as far as from a PlayStation standpoint. And that's something I want to actually just finish this conversation off when it comes to Spider-Man, because I know that TJ Johnson spoke of earlier about this, is that what do you think should be the future for the Spider-Man game once it now that it's gone into a format where it's a big wide open space? You see what they've tried to do as far as the movies is concerned. Where do you think the Spider-Man video game should go from here? Should it evolve into something else like Sony wants it to with its movies? Or do you think it should just stay focused on retelling different parts of the Spider-Man universe?
Well, it needs to go virtual VR ASAP, just to start it off.
Honestly, this is the issue with superhero anything now, whether it's a novel, a comic book, a motion comic, or movie or video game, or really anything. It's that the first thing people want to hear is because of the MCU. Let's connect it to a larger universe. We all already know Spider-Man's part of a larger universe, so let's keep it here for a bit, and if they want to slowly introduce other heroes, like have them be side characters, like you want to have the stuff with like Spider-Man and Deadpool or Spider-Man and Wolverine, that's fine, throw them in there. But
it's a fun DLC.
DLC, what part of the main story, whatever they want to do, but let's keep it Spider-Man oriented for a while. Let's not make it suffer from trying to open an expanded universe, because that's where things get iffy and that's where things get messy and you lose people, but you also garner more critique when you do things like that. What I love about Spider-Man is it keeps it simple, it keeps it Spider-Man. We see it has little Easter eggs of other Spider-Man and Marvel stuff, but it mostly just keeps to itself. I like it. I like that it's compact.
Chad, any last thoughts on Spider-Man, the video game for the PlayStation 4?
I love the physics of the game. I think how the bad guys ragdoll is really fun, especially just because of how Spider-Man works. He's kind of assassinine, so to get to see your enemies, flung by their, head and stuck into the, wall with a web is really satisfying. And I think it's fun that it almost feels a little bit like you're playing like a little bit of an Assassin's Creed type game with Spider-Man's play style. So I think that's a really fun play style to get to be kind of this almost assassin on, steroids, and you just get to cruise all around the city. So I'm definitely going to be playing this game.
That's praise enough right there. And for anybody else out there who really takes it in, if you want to share your thoughts on the latest Spider-Man game and how good or how not so good you think it is, share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com plus popculturecosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. So I want to thank again Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. Catch our full episodes of the Fantasy Football Pater podcast each and every week on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel. That's again on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and over 30 different podcast outlets. Plus also as well, thank TJ Johnson from The Voice from the Underground for sharing his thoughts on Spider-Man as well. Catch their show on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and a gazillion outlets as well. Josh, any last thoughts on the way out?
No, I think we're good, man. Just we got some I guess we can officially announce we got a new website launching here, hopefully at the end of the week. So be looking out for that.
Absolutely. Looking out for that. Indeed. We're going to have the actual web address and all that information coming up on our next show. That's going to be the Friday show. That's going to be something to look forward to indeed. Any last thoughts from you, Chad, before we check on out?
Let's see. They need to make Roller Coaster Tycoon 4. That's my.
But no last thoughts, no last shout outs for Hyperschmidt?
I heard though that the developers of Roller Coaster Tycoon were like, when that Counting Crows cover comes out, then they will release news on Roller Coaster Tycoon 4.
Okay, well then that's the latest news is that I'm going to be working on my Counting Crows cover right there.
All right, it's a deal. You guys heard it here first.
All right, and we'll all get into a little yellow taxi and drive off.
Yeah. We're just putting together our live show right now. Me and Trudai, he's my drummer, but I also am his drummer. So we're putting together a really fun concert. It's the two of us. We're switching back and forth because when you're a drummer and a singer, the number one thing you want to do while you're singing is drum. But also when you're drumming, the number one thing you want to do is be singing. So we get to go back and forth and have a really cool show like that. So we're putting together a really fun live concert, and we've already been playing at a couple schools, a couple junior highs too. And we're trying to get together a college tour. So if you know of anywhere that would need us, I'm gonna say it again. If you need us, if you know of anyone anywhere that needs us to play and you want us to come play, contact us. Email me. Hit me up on Instagram, and we'll definitely get it going. We've gotten our whole concert package to be able to fit into a Mazda 3, a very small, compact car, and we focus so much time on scaling everything down to fit in this car with great gas mileage. So, we're ready to go. Let's do it.
All right, sounds great indeed. So for Chad Smith at Hyperschmidt and Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.